How's everything going, everyone? I wanted to hop on here and talk to you guys about what's happening right now with Goldman Sachs looking to basically uh, do what they do best. They are vultures, right? They're capitalistic vultures. They understand how to circle a carcass like vultures do. Whenever you see a dead animal or an animal that's dying out in the wild, vultures tend to track them because they know it's only a matter of time before the prey is going to bleed out and die. And it makes it real easy for them to be able to come in and basically get their meal. And that's what Goldman Sachs is looking to do right now. They're looking to raise $2 billion from investors to step in and go and buy up Celsius Networks assets in the event that they go bankrupt. And this is one of the things that I talk to you guys about a lot, is that you have people who they love to sit up here and talk to you about how crypto is a scam and how crypto has no real use cases and it has no utility whatsoever. But what you have to say to yourself is that if something was a scam and it had no utility and it had no use cases whatsoever, then why would they be looking to raise $2 billion to go and buy it? See, at a certain point, you have to be able to see the obvious before it's obvious. And that's one of the biggest problems with a lot of people, is that because you don't have a 3 to 5 year time horizon, it's very easy for people to ping pong you around. And basically, because it's easy to lure you in with the idea that, oh, you can just trade in and out of these different assets. You can buy Bitcoin at 3,000 and you're going to sell it at 60, and then you're going to short the market at 60 and you're going to buy it back at 10. These things sound good in theory, but the big boys, the people who make a lot of money, the institutional investor, they're playing the long game. And that's exactly what's happening here. This reminds me of when Jamie Dimon came out and he was at an event and he said that if he catches anyone on his desk trading Bitcoin or investing in Bitcoin, he would fire them. And then we come to find out that JP Morgan was setting up an actual trading desk and an investment arm for Bitcoin, right? Then we found out that not only were they doing that, but they were working with Coinbase to make it easier to facilitate you being able to deposit crypto. So you have to be smart enough to see kind of what's happening. And this is sort of like a 3D chess move where, the left hand is saying one thing, but the right hand is doing exactly what they're telling you the left hand isn't doing. And, these institutions are very, very good at doing that. There's a misdirection. So they'll sit up here and they'll tell you crypto is too risky. They'll tell you that crypto is too volatile. And then you turn around and now you find out they're raising $2 billion to go and buy up Celsius Networks assets. The same thing I said before about hacking. It takes a lot of intellectual brain power to be able to hack someone. It is not easy as people try to make it seem. I've been in this industry for a long time. You have to really, first of all, you have to know that a person even has crypto to be able to phish them or do some type of a social engineering attack, right? So it definitely is a process into being able to effectively hack someone. Do you think that people are going to go out of their way to hack someone if what they're hacking someone for isn't valuable? See, this is part of being intelligent. And the sad thing about it is many are just not intelligent. Because again, why would I go through all of this trouble to try to hack you and get a worthless asset? Clearly, these cryptocurrencies, they have value, they have utility, because people would not be investing billions of dollars into infrastructure to be able to custody these assets, to be able to lobby down at the federal government to get different rules and regulations in our favor. So, you have to be very, very mindful of what's going on here, and you cannot allow people to scare you out of your positions. This is why I'm a huge proponent of know what you own and why you own it. Because if you know what you own and you know why you own it, then you know who else wants to own it. And see, that becomes very, very key. Because like when you look at something like Chainlink, for example, that's not a retail coin. When I talk about retail is someone like yourself, someone like myself. We don't have billions of dollars at our disposal. We're not a corporation. We don't have actual commercial or industrial use cases for our day-to-day businesses. But Walmart does, right? The NASDAQ does. And what you have to understand is that when we start getting into this idea of smart contracts and we start getting into data, those are the people who are going to be buying the Link token. It's not going to be people like you and I. So you have to be mindful of these things, that, you know, people who are going to be data aggregators, or people who are going to want to provide data or make sure that they're getting data from the correct people to actually go out here and query these oracles. Those are going to be institutions. Those are going to be corporations. Those are going to be businesses, not people like you and I. So when I'm investing in projects, this is why I know what I own and why I want to own it. I want to position myself in front of the smart money. I don't want to position myself in front of a meme coin. Now, not saying there's anything wrong with it, but I promise you that when Goldman Sachs steps in and they bail out, when I say bail out, like, obviously Celsius Network's going to go bankrupt. But when I say bail out, I mean that they're willing to step in and inject capital and get those assets. They're not looking to buy Dogecoin, right? When they step in and they look to buy up all of those bankrupt assets, they're not going to be looking to buy Shiba Inu, right? They're going to be looking to buy assets like Bitcoin, like Ethereum, like a Quant, you know, like their stable coin pile that they may have over there, you know, real tangible assets that's actually going to usher in the concept of what we call Web 3.0. So you need to be very, very mindful of that. Also, right on cue, we found out that Voyager actually had to get bailed out from Sam Bankman-Fried, who is basically the creator and founder of FTX. Think about this for a second. If you go back to the early 1900s, right, many of the bankers got together and they started actually bailing out other institutions. And they did that so that they can go to Congress and lobby to get a bunch of rules and regulations, because they said, see, our industry needs regulation because we stepped in and bailed them out. And we want to prevent this from happening. But understand that what he was doing effectively when he was bailing out these companies is setting the stage so that he could create the rules, right? And this is why it's very, very important for you to understand that many of these individuals, like, you know, like a Charles, like the guy Sam Bankman-Fried, they understand that crypto is the future. But what they don't want is they don't want a future where they don't have control. So what they're trying to do is step in and try to be the savior of a Voyager or bail Voyager out, just so that it can look good in regards to PR, and that they can then go down to Congress and to the government and lobby to get rules and regulations passed in their favor, right? He who holds the gold makes the rules. And if you understand how lobbying works and you understand how regulation is created, then you would understand that many of these big players in crypto right now, they're really setting the stage for how the future is going to be dictated and which crypto players are going to be in control. So we see that Voyager as a massive hole in their balance sheet, because they were giving loans to 3 Arrows Capital, who basically loaded up on UST and took a sizable hit. So now what's going to start to happen is you're going to see all of these big titans in crypto get together, and they're going to start saying, we need regulation, we need rules. But they're going to get the regulations and rules constructed in a way that's going to benefit their businesses, because see, John D. Rockefeller told you, competition is a sin. They don't want to compete in the free market. So this is why you have to be smart enough and understand that what's happening right now in these markets is bigger than you and I. We don't have any say over what's going on right now. These are really powerful players that's sitting down right now, and they're trying to carve out their piece of the pie. And understand that if Goldman Sachs is raising $2 billion to basically buy up Celsius Network's assets once they go bankrupt, that means that Celsius is going to go bankrupt. And even if Celsius isn't insolvent right now, they're going to push this market down so far that Celsius will go bankrupt, right? This is known as vulture capitalism. And you have to know these things, right? So know that they're going to push the market wherever they need to push it. Because see, I told you guys, I have tools, because everything in the blockchain is open, it's transparent, it's an open ledger. So I know for a fact that I know where the liquidations will happen at. I know for a fact who's over leveraged and who has to put up more collateral. And these are tools that you can use with Nansen.io or Token Terminal, where you can see where all of the liquidity is at. You can actually track addresses and you can see kind of who's over leveraged. And at $800 Ethereum, many of these institutional players have to put up more collateral. And now what you have to understand is, where do they get that collateral from? And see, this becomes where now you got to really look at the chessboard. Effectively, this is what's happening. If you're an institution, you're a hedge fund, you have to go to a centralized exchange similar to Voyager and borrow collateral, borrow cash from them to go out here and do the things that you want to do. Well, if I'm the centralized exchange, I know how much money I gave you. Follow me here. This is important. So I know how much money you have because I gave it to you. So if I gave you $200 million, I know really that's probably all you have. Even if you try to lever it up, right, is but so much leverage you can get on $200 million. So now, if I'm Sam Bankman-Fried, if I'm Goldman Sachs, and I know that I'm extending credit to Voyager, or I'm extending loans to Voyager, I know how much money I gave them. So when I'm the actual octopus, I have my tentacles and everything, and I know all roads lead back to me, because when you need more money, you have to come to me. But what happens if I see that, you know what, strategically, you have assets that I want to have, and you need cash from me? So Goldman Sachs is looking at it from the standpoint saying, you know what, it makes more sense to just watch you go bankrupt, push the market lower, and I can get crypto assets for pennies on a dollar. See, this is how the big boys play, right? They play from a space, they operate from a space of, I already know what's going to happen before it happens, because I gave you the credit, I gave you the loan. So I know at what point you're over collateralized or under collateralized. I know that. And that becomes very, very powerful. And this is what's happening right now. So many of these institutions right now who wanted to get into crypto are going to basically liquidate a lot of these large institutions and come in and buy these assets up for pennies on a dollar. You have to be smart enough. You got to be smart enough to see they're not buying something that's worthless. You think that Goldman Sachs is going to raise $2 billion to buy something that has no value, that has no utility? Or do you think that they want to get it at the prices that they want it at, so that when they get it at the prices they want it at, now they can actually go and formulate the rules and regulations as they see fit? Remember, competition is a sin. They don't want to compete in a fair and free market. They want to rig the game so that they will always win. I know at the end, the crypto market cap is going much higher than $2 trillion, which is why I laugh at you guys when I see people talking about, oh, the market is down. Do you understand that globally, the stock market's worth over $100 trillion globally? The S&P 500 is worth over $30 trillion at its peak. It was over $35 trillion. Crypto at its peak was worth what? 2.8, $2.9 trillion. It is a baby. So big $60,000 Bitcoin is a blip. But see, I've sat through so many corrections in crypto that I understand where we're going. Just like I understand with the Fed. The name of the game, right, is if you look at the Fed funds rate over a 30-year period, it's downward sloping, meaning that it's making lower lows and lower highs. So in a downtrend, the market doesn't trade straight down. Just like the Fed doesn't just keep interest rates low forever. They'll raise them, but they never raise them higher than the previous high. So right now, look how low interest rates are. Let's say the Fed funds rate gets up to 3.25%, 4%, 5%. What's going to happen to the economy? Economy is eventually going to collapse. Then they're going to have to cut. But what happens once you get to zero? The next step is negative interest rates, the same thing that happened in Europe. See, we've already seen these patterns already unfold. Again, you have to have a long-term view in what you're investing in, which is why you have to know what you own and why you own it. Not complicated, right? See, when you know what you own and why you own it, you just sit back and play the game. This is why I tell you guys, read the book, The Creature from Jekyll Island, because they'll talk to you about how the Federal Reserve was formed in the first place in secrecy. They'll tell you how these powerful titans got together from different industries of banking and finance, right, and textile industries, etc. And they get together and they collude and they say, we're going to get these politicians in the room and we're going to tell you the rules and regulations we want you to pass. Because what they want to do is they want to make it hard for the average businessman or woman to be able to come in and compete with them, because competition is a sin. And if you know these things, if you study history, you would know that banks have been getting bailed out for an extremely long time. You would know why the FDIC was created. It wasn't created to insure you, right? It was created to put basically a barrier of entry into most businesses, because how many people actually have the collateral to be able to even carry that type of insurance for their customers, right? They make it so expensive for you to be able to do business as a bank that the average person can't create a bank to compete with them. That's what rules and regulations are designed for. What do you think the whole idea of an accredited investor was created for? It was created so that, like, think about this. You think that you're investing in like a good company in the public markets, right? You think something's safe because it's regulated. But the real money is investing in the company before it goes public, right? Before it IPOs. Because you're buying in a company for pennies on the dollar before it actually goes to the public markets, right? So therefore, your wealth is already locked in before it even, the people who invested in Uber before it went public already locked in 5, 6, 7x on their money. So when they go to the public markets, when the company goes public, that's when they actually dump their assets on you, right? But see, again, you have people who, they don't really know what they're talking about because they don't play a high level game. So they don't really look at the chessboard, you know, not necessarily looking at the board, but looking at the people who are playing the pieces on the board, right? Because when you're playing 3D and 4D chess, you're playing at a much higher level than the average person is playing, right? So the private investor's already up before it even goes public, right? But that's legal to do that, right? It's legal to be an angel investor. It's legal to invest in, you know, an institutional fund that can invest in these opportunities before they go public. That's the real game. You have to learn how to play the game. And you have to learn the name of the game is to buy low and sell high. The name of the game is not to buy high and sell low. That's not the name of the game, baby. And I see so many of you, you know, you're panicking right now. You're getting scared. No, this is the time when you put your foot on the gas and you accelerate. Because I'm telling you, Goldman's going to push this market lower. JP Morgan's going to push this market lower, right? Many of the big institutional trading funds, they're going to push this market lower because they want to bankrupt a lot of these people. And you flush out the dumb money and the smart money comes in, right? If you're smart money, which I think many of you are who follow me, you know what you own and why you want to own it. Thanks, I appreciate you guys saying I'm dropping gems. I all the time want to drop you guys gems. Absolutely. That's another part of the propaganda is, you know, telling you that, you know, capitalism is bad when most of these companies don't practice capitalism. They practice socialism. What do you think bailouts are? What do you think going to the federal government and getting the Fed to buy your bonds is? Do you think that that's capitalism? Do you think that that's free markets? The fact that you have a central bank, centralization, planning and dictating the price of money, where money goes and where money flows. Do you think that that's capitalism? That's absolutely not. Picking and choosing. But see, this goes back to the Cantillon effect. And I talk to you guys about this all the time. This is very, very important here. Those who sit the closest to the money printer gets to spend the inflation first. Also, remember back in 2008, they knew which companies were going to go bankrupt because either they held their debt or they extended credit to those companies. So see, when you are the octopus, the squid, you're the head and you have your tentacles everywhere. So you know when someone's in trouble and if it's systemic before it already is. So see, this is why they knew about Lehman Brothers and Bear Stearns before it even happened. And I would encourage you guys to go and watch Too Big to Fail and go and watch The Big Short. It's the same thing that's happening right now with many of these centralized exchanges. They know who's in trouble and who isn't. Now, the reason why they're picking Celsius is because Celsius has a lot of valuable assets, right? It's very, very important why they're going after Celsius. Someone says, why not go after ETH? You can't attack the protocol. The protocol is decentralized, so you can't attack the protocol. Price has nothing to do. Right now, think about it. If Ethereum is trading at $2,000, and I know that I can collude with other people and push the price down to $600 by basically forcing people who are over leveraged to sell, then I can short the market, and right on cue, we got a Bitcoin ETF. Similar thing happened back in 2018, right? But understand, with the futures, when we was able to get the futures, understand that this is important. If I can collude to push the markets lower, that means I can short the market and make money on the way down, force a bunch of degenerate traders to go bankrupt, degenerate institutions to go bankrupt, and I can still buy the asset at $800, $700, $600 that I want. I make money both ways, right? Now understand, you don't have the skills to be able to do that, so you shouldn't even be trying to play that game. You should be focusing on playing the long game, because the long game is where the money's really made. See, it's a reason why everyone sells you trading an institution. It shows you sells you trading, because selling you trading benefits the institutions. It benefits the brokerages, because they make a bunch of money off of fees. It doesn't benefit you, because we know that most people who actively trade lose money. 95% of people who actively trade lose money. This is a statistical fact. It's not up for debate, right? But they sell you that because, again, that makes the brokerages money. The real money is made in buying and holding. Mm-hmm. Aristotle's entitled to his opinion, right? Guys, people can have whatever opinion they want to. That's like me saying the stock market's bullshit because most of the stock market is down. What are you basing something being bullshit on, right? Why would Goldman Sachs spend $2 billion to invest in it if it was bullshit? Why would banks want to take custody of it if it was bullshit, right? See, understand that you have a lot of people who, let's just be real about it, they're not really intelligent people. They're not really educated people. They're not book smart in any way. They're not knowledgeable in any way. You have a lot of people who are just really like good hustlers on the internet. They're good at selling courses, right? They're good at finding a bunch of people and aggregating people and selling them on a course. Just because someone's made a lot of money doesn't really mean that they're that smart. And see, this becomes one of the problems, especially in the black community. Let's just be real. Most of what many of you guys look up to as leadership, many of these guys are not bright people. They're just hustlers, right? They know how to get in front of you and they can show you their chain and they can show you their watch, right? And they can say to you, buy this thing, right? And these apps like this make it very easy to get in front of you. Go look at their marketing, go look at the things that they're doing, but they're not really bright people in regards to intellect and intelligence, right? So when we're talking about crypto and we're talking about Web3 and we're talking about, where we're going in terms of a natively digital world, man, these people can't comprehend that, right? Like, so understand that, because see, if you were really a trader and you could really make money in the markets trading, you wouldn't be selling courses. Right? Because trading is the one business and the one industry where once you have money, now it's just about levering up. Because now you're just going to implement what you do, or you get to a point where your particular strategy just caps out because it's not that profitable. Right? But many of these people, they understand what they're doing, and there's nothing wrong with it. He's entitled to his opinion, but it's not an educated opinion. It's not an intelligent opinion. It's just his opinion. Right? And listen, understand that opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one, right? Everyone has an opinion. You have to say to yourself, do you know what you own and do you know why you own it? Do you understand that some of the world's brightest people, I really want you to take a step back and understand that some of the brightest people in the world, the smartest people in the world who worked at Fortune 500 companies are behind some of these cryptocurrencies. Think about that for a second. Like just from a intellect perspective, right? Do you think Aristotle could hold a candle to someone like Vitalik or Charles? Let's forget all of the fly shit. Look at my chain, look at my Rari. Like, let's just talk about an intelligence standpoint, right? Like think about that for a second. Do you think that any of these people who are actually critiquing and talking about crypto from an intelligence standpoint could hold a candle to any of these people who are actually working on these problems? Sergey from Chainlink. You tell me one of these critics who have the credentials that Sergey has. And when I say credentials, I don't just mean in academia, I mean business acumen. Real businessman, right? Not a guy on Instagram talking to you about his material things. I'm talking about people who are accomplished in the business world. right? See, it's very easy to sit up here and criticize something because you have a voice to do so. It's very easy to do so. But how legitimate is your criticism? What credentials do you have to be able to critique something? What businesses and institutions have you actually been able to go out here and run? Right? So, I take many of these people, the things that they say with a grain of salt, because I know it's just coming from a standpoint of emotionalism, and they're living in the immediate what's going on right now. See, one thing about it, I have the ability to go and sit down with people and talk to them, and these are people who are extremely accomplished in the technology space. They're extremely accomplished in the investing space, right? These are like real people, $100 million, $200 million people. I've had the ability to sit down and talk to them and pick their brains to really understand where we're going as a world, right? You have to be very, very, very mindful of these things that just, and especially in the black community, man, we base everything just off of the way things are packaged, right? So if a person can package themselves as, the chain, the rollie, the nice car, the nice house, then yeah, that nigga know what he talking about, right? In the bull market, all of the stocks are going up and he made you a couple of $100, you go, yeah, that nigga know what he talking about. That's a fly nigga right there. That's a real nigga. I promise you, Vitalik's not sitting around saying oh yeah, I'm looking for what the real niggas want to say, right? That's not where we're going, So you just got to be mindful of these things, man, and just understand and know that you are a part of something that's historical right now. Like literally, you're witnessing the future. You're investing in the future, right? And these things are very, very important. See what some of you guys are talking about. I think that we have to go a little bit lower. I know a lot of you guys keep asking me, what do I think about it? Hey, peace, what's good? Eli.yyz.bet. I believe that we have to go a little bit lower. I believe that the Fed is probably going to give us another 75 basis rate hike next month. And I believe that we definitely have to trade lower. I also believe that Goldman Sachs is going to push the market lower to basically buy up Celsius's assets. Celsius is holding a lot of wrapped Bitcoin and Ethereum. And Goldman Sachs wants their hands on it. And what better way than to push the market lower? Also, I believe that Michael Saylor is going to get liquidated as well. I think that Michael Saylor has a lot of debt and a lot of leverage on the Bitcoin that he purchased. And I believe that the market's going to test them to see, does his investors have the appetite to sit through another 20% or 30% correction in Bitcoin? But I've been telling you guys these things are going to happen. I believe that many of these crypto companies are going to get bought out, or they're going to, like I said, the guy from FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, he stepped in and basically helped shore up. I believe it was Voyager he helped out, and I see that happening more and more and more. I never had a chance to look at Veracity. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It gets to the point you guys ask me a lot of different projects, and I really only can focus on the business that pays me. So I've been really, really busy with just setting up my nodes, perfecting the nodes, kind of perfecting how much revenue is going to bring in for my investors and for myself. I haven't really had a chance to look at a lot of these new projects because I'm gonna be quite honest with you, I don't really see a lot of people trying to solve the blockchain trilemma, right? In terms of decentralization, security, scalability, right? I don't see that in speed. I don't see those things, right? I don't see them working on scalability. Type 1 if you can hear me. But I promise you guys, when I get a chance, I'll definitely, go tap in. You just said you can't hear me. You guys can hear me. That's good. Yeah. So I'll definitely make sure that I will, look into some of these things when I get a chance. I haven't even had a chance to really go live like I wanted to because I just be so busy. But I promise you guys that I'm definitely going to be able to get back to my regular schedule in regards to streaming at least twice a week and stuff like that, because I'm still in the process of finishing up the coding boot camp. For those of you who are in the academy, really making sure that I can give you guys some good game, give you guys some good information, because I really want to start. I think that during this period, this is the perfect time to really start focusing on trying to build. Think about it, like, Sam Bankman-Fried, billionaire. He built FTX. Vitalik, billionaire. He created Ethereum. Charles, billionaire. He created the Cardano project, right? Like, there's so many things that we guys can be focusing on building, and not just in regards to creating your own crypto, but just job opportunities and things of that nature. So that's what I really want to focus on over this bear market, is really focusing on building. That's my thing. Mm-hmm. Not that I know of. I don't know any projects that's really geared towards 3D printing. Let's go back and look at some of your older questions. What happens when Scylla gets liquidated? Basically, what happens is he gets forced to sell. So in crypto, they have these things called over-collateralized loans, right? So the way that an over-collateralized loan would work is that, let's say you had $1,000 worth of Ethereum, and you wanted to borrow some stable coins. You could borrow, let's say, $5,000 worth of stable coins against that $1,000 worth of ETH. In the event, let's just hypothetically speaking, because it's obviously more complex than this, but the numbers and the mechanisms are the same. If you borrowed $5,000 and the value of Ethereum drops to $5,000, obviously that loan needs to be satisfied. You still owe $5,000. Your assets are worth $5,000. So I'm going to sell your collateral that's currently worth $5,000 to pay back the loan worth of $5,000, and then you get back nothing in that case, right? Because you borrowed $5,000. When the asset was worth $1,000, it dropped to $500. Now I've satisfied that $500 worth of debt you have, and you're wiped out. But what happens is that I have to sell that asset in the market to get that $500 to satisfy the debt that you have. So in Michael Saylor's case, he went out and he basically purchased he went out and basically sold bonds in his company and debt in his company in order for him to be able to go out here and get the cash to buy Bitcoin, right? So what they're saying is that at $21,000, and this was rumored, again, we don't know how true this is, he would have to put up more collateral to hold his crypto, or he would be forced to sell. Here's the problem with Michael Saylor. He doesn't have free cash flow to buy at $21,000. So he would have to go and issue more debt and try to find people who are willing to loan him more money to hold that position at $21,000. Now he's saying that he has enough money all the way down to $3,000. I don't believe it. And here's the beautiful thing: whether I believe he does or doesn't matter. The market's going to test him and push that price down to see if he can do it. So that's what happens when someone gets liquidated. Basically, you had $1,000 worth of Ethereum. You borrowed $500 of stable coins. That Ethereum's worth $5,000. I keep saying $5,000. $500 now, because it dropped from being worth $1,000 to being worth $500. They then sell that $500 worth of assets you have to satisfy that $500 worth of debt that you have. Very, very simple. So what happens is that's forced selling in the market. And that's what you witnessed the other day when we dropped down to $800. That was forced selling. That wasn't people selling because they wanted to sell. That was them selling because they had to sell to satisfy the debts that they had out in the marketplace, which is why you shouldn't really be trading on leverage or trading on margin. unless you have the actual collateral to hold that position. Because in the event that your collateral drops to $500, all you gotta do is put up more collateral and you'll be fine, right? If you add more collateral to your position, then your loan to value ratio will be fine. Yeah, like getting bankrupted in Monopoly, 100%. I could see that happening in like an extreme situation. See, this is what I think is going to happen. I think that over the next 2 weeks to a month, 2 or 3 large institutions are going to go bankrupt. That's when you know the bottom is in the market. When you start seeing people go bankrupt is when you'll know the bottom is in on the market. We haven't witnessed anyone go bankrupt yet. We're seeing the rumblings now. We know for a fact that Voyager and BlockFi, matter of fact, it wasn't Voyager that had to get bailed out. I believe it was BlockFi that had to get bailed out. I'm not sure. Let me pull it up. I want to make sure that I'm correct in what I'm saying. SBF. It was both of them. It was BlockFi and Voyager, so I was right. It was BlockFi and Voyager. It was BlockFi and Voyager that both had to get a bailout from SBF. So again, just be mindful of these things, that there's a lot of other players out here that are not going to get that bailout or not going to get that line of credit or that vote of confidence, and the market's going to flush them out. And when that happens, we're going to trade lower. We're going to have a lot of panic selling, a lot of forced selling, because you're going to have to unwind those positions. As I said before, when the market was pumping, you had $1,000 worth of Ethereum. That's what the price of your collateral was. That's the value, what it was worth. You borrowed $500 against that 1,000. Now you're trading at like $600. That's the value of your collateral. The institutions, the protocols, they're looking at it saying, you know what? It's time to liquidate you to satisfy your debt. That's forced selling. I would say the best place to get your updates from is just crypto Twitter, because Twitter aggregates data and information from multiple sources. So you have people constantly sharing articles and things of that nature. How do those companies compare to decentralized protocols? Are the decentralized projects virtually immune to this? Absolutely. That's a great question. I'm trying to get this thing to go away. That's a fantastic question. Again, it's very, very simple, right? Like, if your quote-unquote project has a CEO, has a corporate structure, then it's not a cryptocurrency. It's basically, it's a centralized company with a token attached to it. Coinbase is a centralized exchange. Voyager is a centralized, exchange. BlockFi is a lending platform that you can basically borrow and lend your cryptocurrency to. Celsius is similar, where basically you can actually give them your crypto and they lend it out to other individuals. Those are companies, whereas things like Maker, Aave, and Compound are protocols. So you're interacting directly with the smart contract. Here's how you know. This is how you'll know if something's decentralized or centralized. Do you have to give them your ID? Do you have to upload a picture of who you are? Do you have to tell them where you live? If you have to give up any identifying information as to who you are, then it's not centralized. Very, very simple. See, like a lot of you make this like it's confusing, it's hard, it's a lot to learn. It's really not. If you have to give up any identifying information as to who you are, you're not dealing with a centralized platform. You're dealing with a centralized entity. The whole purpose of crypto and decentralization is for it to be pseudo-anonymous, meaning that you can have privacy and anonymity, where you don't have to reveal who you are. You don't have to do that with Maker, you don't have to do that with Aave, and you don't have to do that with Compound. All you need is a MetaMask address, some Ethereum or whatever particular asset you want to stake there or borrow against, and you can go and do that with no problem. Yearn Finance, you don't to use the Yearn protocol, you don't have to give up any identifying information, right? And again, I would just encourage you guys, go use the protocol. What do you have to give up when you use Yearn?
I'm going to trust you to just share with me what's there. Certain panels I know are going to take a really long time, and certain ones aren't. So it's going to be,
What are my thoughts on digital real estate? I've been buying a lot. I've been buying a lot of other side metaverse land. I'm really bullish on that. I've been buying a lot of Gala. I told you guys I'm investing heavily in Gala. I own NFT land plots inside of Decentraland as well.
Oh, you're rocking your snowflake shirt. Last time it was IBM, right?
So I'll tell you guys that for a fact. I'm investing heavily into metaverse land, especially at these prices with Ethereum. You know, like think about it. You know, when Ethereum was trading at like $3,000 and $2,000, some of these land plots were like 15 grand, 16 grand, and now you could get them for like $4,000, $5,000, right? So very, 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 you know, discounted opportunities right now. You know, getting plots of land for $3,000 and $4,000 and $2,000 is a blessing right now. I'm even looking to scoop up some mutant apes right now, some bored apes and some mutant apes. Eli don't fuck with those people behind him. Yeah, nah, they over there doing their own thing. Absolutely. Remember, the technology is only going to get better as they iterate. It's only going to get better. It's not going to get worse. Like I have an Oculus. The funny thing is, like I've been playing around my Oculus a little bit. I have to get some more games and stuff for it. But like just think about how lighter and more powerful the technology is going to be as we get forward. How long will it take for the debt corrections? I honestly, I'm looking at about like the next 3 to 6 months. I'm looking at going into the fall, going into midterm elections is when we're going to start to see the correction, kind of the market of balance out, and we'll kind of start looking to set like somewhat of a support level in all markets. Eli, what are your thoughts on the upcoming inflation data, and what price range do you see the bottom coming in? The inflation data I expect it to be high again, just for the simple fact of, you got to think about it. The definition of inflation is more supply of dollars chasing the equal amount of goods, meaning the same amount of goods, if not less. So you got to think about it. We had the pandemic, so therefore we had supply chain disruptions, and we had over, 40% of our money supply printed over that short period of time. So you have more currency in circulation and not enough goods, right? That's the textbook of inflation. Textbook definition of inflation. And, in regards to that, it's going to take a while for the Fed to be able to stamp out inflation. And like Jamie Dimon said, I don't believe they can. I'm calling the Fed's bluff. I don't think the Fed can stop inflation, because we need inflation to grow and we need debt to grow. I believe that they're going to pretend they can do it for the next 12 months, but then eventually we're going to realize inflation is not really dropping as fast as we want it to, right? So, and I've told you guys this before, just based upon how we finance ourselves as a government. What are the 3 to 5 projects I would tell someone just getting started in crypto? If I was just now getting into crypto, these are the projects I would look at in this order: Chainlink, Ethereum, Avalanche, Quant, and Cosmos. I think with those 5 projects, you can't go wrong. And you can even attach Near Protocol to that, because, we just watched DYDX move from the Ethereum blockchain over to an app, or they call it a DApp chain, which is, the Cosmos blockchain. And I really, really am a bull on those. I believe that the future is about interoperability, blockchains talking to each other. There will not be this quote-unquote world where one blockchain will rule them all, because different chains have different use cases and they have different pros and different cons. So that's my mentality. Do I think Voyager will go under? No, I don't think Voyager will go under. I think Voyager is fine. I think that right now what we're watching institutions get together to basically say that, hey, we solved the regulation problem in crypto, And these are the regulations that we think that you should put into place, right? This is basically the elites getting together to carve out the rules and regulations that will benefit them, but will keep out competition. Remember, John D. Rockefeller said competition is a sin. So these institutions are going to collude together and make it seem like, guess what? It was a lot of problems in crypto, but we solved them. And these are the rules and regulations that we need the government to put into play so that it can benefit us, because we'll be the titans now, because we'll be setting the rules and lock everyone else out. These things happen all the time. See, if you actually go and look at Voyager, they really didn't even need a bailout. And that's the funny thing about, like, if you actually go and like look at what's going on, they didn't even need the bailout. These are highly intelligent people who understand that, listen, we got to get in front of this quote unquote idea of regulations. So if we can get together and pretend like, you know, we solve the problems and we solve the regulation problem, then everything will be fine, right? And that's what's going on here. They want to draw up the rules and regulations going forward. Gotta understand, there's always a game and a game being played, a game within a game. Not Neo, Near Protocol, NEAR. Huge bull on Near Protocol. Got a big position in that, and I'm still building and accumulating one. I don't like the Ledger Nano. I like a Ledger Nano X. I would not touch the Ledger Nano. They have bundles where you could come with it. It's just for the simple fact that if you have more storage to use the Ledger Nano X. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Filecoin. I don't really think the technology is that intuitive or revolutionary or groundbreaking. So I'm not really interested in Filecoin in any way. I would be careful with Filecoin. Individualism is over. Hold on. It says individualism is over. Cooperation is here to stay. Absolutely. And see, the elites know that, right? If we can work together and create a bunch of rules and regulations, it keeps competition out, because competition is a sin. Telcoin is going to be major. You guys know that already. I have a huge position in Telcoin. I like cryptocurrencies that have real use cases and utility. But people are asking me like what top 5 coins I would tell them to look at. I gave them 5. Obviously, I could give you 10. I could give you 15. I could give you 20. I gave them 6 actually. But you know me, man. Obviously, I have much more on my list than 7 coins, right? I probably have like 34 projects that are solid, right? I probably got like $500,000. I probably got like $500,000 or more in all of these projects. I have a lot of money invested in crypto, like huge amounts. So that's why I don't panic. Like all my money really just goes into crypto, and then like my business money, I goes bullshitting. Near Protocol is training people on how to build on the protocol. People got to get up on opportunity. Thank you. Which is why I'm putting together the coding bootcamp. And for those of you who are interested in learning about this technology, this is why I created My Tech Academy. A link to join the academy is in my bio. We have a free 3-day trial that you're welcome to come and test it out for 3 days. And as long as you cancel before the 3 days are over, you will not be charged. So I'm huge on that. I've been recording all day long today. I have a few more videos to record because I want to give you guys certificates and stuff like that once you finish and put together, like, you know, I really want to have like a real schedule for us to get together and be building stuff together. What do I think about Cadena? I think that it's solid technology, just like Flow. I think Flow is solid technology as well too. Here's the problem. You don't have enough developers, you don't have enough applications, and you don't have enough users. And see, this becomes the problem, like with Tezos. I had a lot of money invested in Tezos, right? And I sold out of it too early. It ended up pumping, but then ended up dumping. The problem with it is that solid technology, great team, great developers, but they don't have enough developers building on it. You know, that's the problem you run into. You need people to adopt your technology. I don't care how fast, cheap, or quick your blockchain is. If you don't have users, right, building things that people want to use, then it's pointless. That's like saying, hey, I built a clone of Instagram. My app is better than Instagram. If I don't have any users, I don't have any revenue, I don't have a business model. You need people, customers, to want to use your products and services. You have to create things that people like and they want to use. Yeah, everything should be up and running. The coding bootcamp is going to be a part of the regular membership. The regular membership is $100 a month. The coding bootcamp is going to be a part of that. Do you think the Chronos blockchain will be successful at some point, or did they spend too much money in too many places? I think crypto.com will be okay. I think crypto.com has deep pockets. I think they'll be okay. I just don't like the technology, but I believe that they have enough money to be relevant in the space. How relevant, I don't know. Because you got to start saying to yourself, like how many layer one smart contract DApp based blockchains do we need? Like if we have Ethereum, we have Harmony, we have Near Protocol, we have Cosmos, we have Polkadot. Like how many layer ones do we need? Flow, Dana, et cetera, et cetera. Like all of these, layer ones that are trying to, solve different problems. Like we only really need 2 or 3 of them, right? We don't need that many. I've heard of Ecomi. I think Track is going to struggle just from the standpoint of technology may be solid, but there's not going to be a lot of funding out here. You got to think about it. When there's a lot of money in circulation, certain technologies get funded even if they're not making money right now. You have to understand technology is all based upon growth, right? So you have to be willing to invest a lot of money up front to get that growth on the back end. So you have to find investors who's willing to bank on you and give you money and basically keep pumping money. Like look at Amazon, how long it took them to become a profitable company, right? So you have to keep pumping money into that idea to eventually, maybe 5 years, 10 years from now, to get to the point where as an investor, you get your profit back. Once the Fed raises interest rates, you don't have as much currency in circulation, right? So therefore, now what begins to happen is if there's less money in circulation, then investors are not going to put money behind experimental things as much as they used to in the past. They're going to want to put their money behind much more sure things. Whenever you get to a place where currency is contracting, investors are not willing to be as risky as they were before. So this is where something like Track is going to struggle to get funding because, again, remember, there's over 19,000 cryptocurrencies. So what's going to happen now is most of the cream is going to rise to the top. That doesn't mean that Track can't sneak in because we don't know what they could be developing behind the scenes. I'm just simply saying to you that just from my experience and what I've seen and witnessed, it gets to the point where a lot of venture capital and institutional investors, they don't really want to put their money in there because they're experiencing redemptions right now too. People are withdrawing their capital, right? Whenever you have a slowdown, people are less interest, like they're less risky because now they start understanding that at the end of the day, cash is king, man. Like people don't understand that whenever you get into a jam where there's like a liquidity crisis, you need cash. Because at the end of the day, what do you pay your bills in? You pay your bills in cash. So whenever people get panicky and fearful, man, they need their cash, period. Listen, people have to be day traders because a lot of people are broke, right? And you have to understand these things. When you're in a situation where you don't have a lot of money and a person comes to you and they show you all these material things, look at my rollie, look at my chain, look at my watch, look at my home, then people are going to naturally, they're going to try to emulate what you're doing. I would tell you, if you want to make money, man, get better skills. The more skills you got, the more money you're going to make. See, that's the problem. Like, a lot of people don't understand, like, I make a lot of money. You know why I make a lot of money? Because I got a lot of skills. There's so many different things I can do to make money, right? So like I can sell courses to make money. I can code to make money. I can raise capital from investors, right? Like I have so many different skill sets to make money. You need to get more resourceful in the marketplace. You need to be more valuable in the marketplace. So you need to be learning about, SQL, structured query language. You need to be learning about things like JavaScript or Python. You need to learn about marketing and being an ad copy guy, right? Learn these things, because if you learn these things, you'll be able to make money. You'll never be broke, because there's so many ways to make money on the internet. The problem is many of you don't have the skills to match the opportunities that's out here. Go get those skills and you'll be fine, right? Skill up. Like right now, most of the airlines are struggling to find pilots. Guess what? That's a job opportunity, right? There's jobs all around you. And people say, oh, I don't want to work no job. Let me tell you something. I didn't get stable as a businessman and as a human until I got a job. When I got a job, it allowed me to be able to pay my bills and not have to keep juggling, so that I can then go focus on my business and go make money. See, the problem with many of you is that, you listen to people like Dame Dash, they talk about, boss up, I sell cookies. My son sells cookies, I sell t-shirts. And what many of you don't realize is that you really just have an underfunded hobby. Many of you don't have businesses, right? Because businesses pay you, right? Many of you have hobbies that you're working on the side. You may be working full-time, but you're making part-time money, if that, right? So you can listen to Boyce Watkins and Dame Dash try to sell you that dream, be a boss. I don't work for nobody. Listen, man, I went and worked a job, got my credit right, got everything right, and then I was able to go out here and build a business. Because one thing you gotta understand, I can create debt faster than I can save money. So if I have my credit in order, if I have my knowledge in order, now I can go out here and I can go leverage my social security number and my name and go out here and go get a loan for $500,000, $250,000. But now I have the knowledge to actually go take that information and go apply it somewhere. See, many of you, you don't have the knowledge, you don't have the fundamentals, you don't have the foundation, which is why you can't apply yourself. And this goes back to the conference that we're having in Miami on August 4th through the 7th. And I really will encourage a lot of you guys to get there, because I was listening to Tony's dad talk the other day, and he was talking about like just so many different creative ways of getting involved in real estate. And there's going to be people there talking to you about credit and teaching you about credit and giving you the fundamentals and foundations that you need to be able to be successful as an entrepreneur. And I think that all of these things are going to be key and going to be important, which is why you need to get in the room. And the first 5,000 tickets are going to be free, right? So this is very, very important. So make sure that you get in that building, and yours truly will be there speaking. So. Womp XP, I would love to answer your question, but I got 1 minute and 46 seconds left, so they are going to be shutting me down as usual. So what I would tell you guys is, man, definitely make sure that you attend the conference from August 4th to the 7th in Miami. The first 5,000 tickets are going to be free. Also, My Tech Academy is my education platform that I have. We have a free 3-day trial that you're welcome to come and try out to see if you like it. A link is in my bio. We cover all things crypto, how to buy, how to sell, how to store, how to structure your portfolio. We have a community, a Slack group where everyone gets together. You can learn from hundreds of other people inside of the Slack group. We cover NFTs, how to make NFTs that we're buying, and so much more. Again, a link will be in my bio. For those of you who are interested in the node investment opportunity, you need to make sure that you DM me the word invest, and I'll make sure that I'll hop on a Zoom call with you guys. So with that being said, guys, have a blessed and beautiful Friday, and be safe out there.